To bring in Senator Nasser Judeh right now, and he's a former foreign minister of the nation of Jordan and joins us now from Amman. What's your perspective, sir, from where you sit on all of this? For example, we were talking or showing some clips earlier from the United States and officials like the Secretary of State worried about not only what's happening now, but this conflict between Israel and Hamas widening to becoming a wider regional conflict. Is that a worry you share?
Well, it's certainly a worry, and it's certainly a worry that we've been voicing for a while. I think the most important thing, Connell, is that with all the atrocious events that we've seen over the last 2 weeks, to remember a couple of things. Number one, this is not the first time that we have war and conflict on Gaza in particular. But the second thing is that with all these atrocious events, we should not lose sight of the core issue, which is occupation, and how to end the occupation, how to ensure that the political process is restored so that the Palestinians can have their dignity and can have their own independent state, and both the Palestinians and Israel can live in peace and security, and by extension, the whole region can live in peace and security. I think we've seen conflict after conflict. I, in the past, have been saying that, we see Gaza Series 1, Series 2, Series 3. We've seen it 2008, 2009, 2012, 2014, 2019, 2020, 21. This is going to continue. The cycle of violence is going to continue, coming back to haunt us all until the core issue is addressed and dignity is restored to the Palestinian people and peace and security.
So you see that core issue is the Israeli occupation, and I know that your government has said, has expressed similar sentiments. King Abdullah, his wife as well, in public, and I'll bring up a tweet that you had just to put this out there so that we can discuss it further. You said imprisoning an entire population, cutting off their water, electricity, and denying them any medical and humanitarian help or food, flattening entire sections of a city and burying women and the elderly under them. Retaliation? Self-defense? No, it's inhuman. So you've been quite critical of Israel yourself, and that was on social media. Obviously, and we've talked about this a lot in our coverage, the Israelis will come back and say, okay, this particular war, this particular conflict started on October the 7th of 2023, and it started with the terrorist attack carried out by Hamas, indiscriminately murdering civilians inside of Israel. And I know you're talking about history, but what do you say to that? Because that's where this one started, right?
Absolutely. You can't ignore history. This particular episode of the conflict started on the 7th of October, and we've been very vocal at the top level, His Majesty the King and all of us. We in Jordan don't need to prove our credentials. We stand against targeting civilians. We've been victims of terror in the past. I don't think that I, somebody who worked on peace, somebody who believes in peace, need to prove myself in that respect. Yes, Israel, when it said it had the right to defend itself, the whole world stood by it when the attacks happened on the 7th of October. But since then, we've been seeing carpet bombings of Gaza, leveling of entire sections of the city. By the way, Gaza has been under siege since 2007, sometimes partially, sometimes fully. This time they cut off the water, they've cut off the food, they've cut off the fuel. Hospitals are being bombed, mosques are being bombed, churches are being bombed.
Wouldn't it have been better, though, to keep the discussions going on how to prevent that, if that's your point of view, and had the meeting, say, with President Biden when he was in the region and not cancel that meeting?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But I think the meeting was canceled after much consultation and discussion with the Palestinians, with the Egyptians, both of whom were going to be part of the conference, and in discussions with our American friends. The idea of that summit in Amman was to produce results, to bring about a ceasefire, to open humanitarian corridors, to throw in the weight of the office of the President of the United States, and just have a photo opportunity was not going to be good for anyone. And by the way, President Biden on Air Force One, when he spoke to journalists, reasserted the fantastic relations that we have between Jordan and the United States.
Are there productive discussions?
The idea was to have a substantive meeting, not just a photo.
Right. Are there productive discussions that you know of happening now since then between
Of course, we are in continuous dialogue with our American friends, and the relationship between Jordan and the United States goes back decades, and the personal relationship between His Majesty the King and the President is a very strong and remains strong. But having said that, once again, the idea of that summit was to produce results. And when the attack on the hospital happened and the meeting was going to end up being just a photo op, I think in discussion and by consensus of the entire group, it was thought it was best to
Wasn't that
postpone
jumping to some conclusions, though, and now we've learned through the evidence? Is it fair to say, would you agree, we've learned that Israel was not behind? It seems almost very, very likely that Israel was not to blame for that explosion at the hospital?
Well, by all accounts, people are saying, look, the jury's still out on that one.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.